Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a very cold Transpicuous news update. It is January 11th. Here in Malta, it is basically hurricane conditions at the moment. It's a little brisk here this morning. We're going back to talk about the Magnetosphere again. I gave updates all day yesterday on my Facebook. I put a couple little update short videos in the last Transpicuous news article. Today I wanted to run through it all, okay? We're going to show you. Again, after we left off yesterday, chaos. Like the flux that was going on in the magnetosphere was unbelievable, and it continued all day yesterday, from the day before, last night, and into this morning. We seem to have just now started to calm a bit. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a look. Again, sorry, we have to do this in increments. It's all I can do. But I will show you this, okay? So here is our first piece. This is January 7th, 2019, starting at 5:59 or just before 6 o'clock in the morning UTC. We go 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can see you get a little tiny calms in between these blasts. So at 10 o'clock in the morning, starts up really heavy again. Calms for a few, maybe an hour. Noon, here we go again. And you can see it's not just the red magnetic field lines. The blue lines here are the interplanetary magnetic fields, and you can watch them going all over the place. Here we are at 3 p.m. Again, just after 5 UTC. And it continues right straight through. We're now at 7 o'clock. Continuous. 8 o'clock, continuing. 9 o'clock, still continuing. 10 o'clock. Now, that is the end of our feed for this segment. So I'm going to take you through them. Again, I can only do 30 screens at a time, or sorry, 300 screens at a time. So bear with me as I walk you through this. January 7th, starting at 22:55, so just before 11 p.m. on January 7th. Again, the unrest just keeps continuing. And there's our midnight blast, it seems. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Barely calms down before the next buildup happens. Six o'clock, a bit calmer again. And then we go, and it keeps going. We're at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11:30, starts building up again, 12, 1400, builds again. Here we are going into 1600, January 8th at 16:24 p.m. That's 4:24 p.m. yesterday, and we will start the feed. You can see it just, the continuous unrest, it just keeps going. 1800, 1900, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I've got a bit of a calm, and then it starts again at 2200 at 10. Now watch this as we go into midnight again. Just after midnight, pow. 1 pulls back and calms down, and then at just after 2, again. You can see it remains very, very unsteady for the rest of the morning with huge winds coming in, it seems. Coming up on 6 o'clock, we start to have a bit more calm at this point. We do have a few little pushes like that here at 8 o'clock, but it does seem that as of 9:30, it has calmed a bit. Okay, now just to add another piece to this report, I want to show you this graph here, which shows us the solar wind velocity of the magnetosphere, okay? I want you to look, again, as we go into that between 10 p.m. going in through midnight, 1 a.m., so you can see the magnitude. This is another great physical representation that you can look at, visual representation that you can look at, okay? So I'm just going to hit play here. We're starting off at 21:35 on January 8th. Now the arrows show you the direction of the solar wind speeds. And you can see there's the first blast. Now here we come into the midnight. And here we go. So you can, just to get an idea again of the magnitude of energy that is coming through at that point. Here's the one at 2 o'clock in the morning last night. And you can see points where you see literally the arrows are spinning backwards and turning back on themselves. So just another interesting piece to look at. Again, what is it that we're actually seeing? Okay, so here we are. It is the 9th of January. This is the morning of 9th. We are now at almost before 11 CET, Central European Time. Over the last almost 48 hours, the magnetosphere has been completely in flux. It is been chaos. It's just continuously hit after hit after hit. Now, here's the thing. So, as I keep saying, I don't have the answers. I'm not an astrophysicist. I ask the questions. I don't know what is going on. All I can do is look at the pieces of information we have available to us and try and reconcile the differences from what we're seeing on one graph, for example, versus what we're being told by the talking heads at NASA, etc. Oh, by the way, are in governmental shutdown. So in the last 2 to 3 days, I've been trying to do all this research. NASA, NOAA, ACE, they're all shut down. So basically, you can't get an email, you can't get any information off their websites because the government shut down. Sucks, just saying. It's just an annoyance. So I want to talk about this. So we did the whole thing, what we're seeing on the magnetosphere. So now I'm going to take you back and we're going to go take a look at what we can actually see according to the rest of the graphs. Okay, so bear with me a moment. Okay, so number one, let's go right through this right to the beginning, right? We are being told solar wind streams, etc. Okay, this is the only coronal hole, these two little things here, that are facing us at the moment. They're tiny, they're minuscule. Now, to put it into perspective, because I keep saying this to people, saying we have seen much bigger, okay? One of the last times that we saw quite a few very strange geomagnetic anomalies happening was in October of 2016. We saw some complete reversals at points of the solar wind streams. It looked like in the magnetic fields. So I want to show you, just to give you an idea, this is what the sun looked at that point. Look at this. These are massive coronal holes. Massive coronal holes. This is what we saw back then. The wind streams that were coming from these were unbelievable. So when you put this back into consideration of what we're seeing now, sorry, here we go, what we're seeing now, these like tiny little coronal holes. The effects that we're seeing on the magnetosphere are way bigger than what we saw in October of 2016. Okay, so these are the things that I have to look at and I factor in when I'm trying to sort through this information. Now we go to SolarHam and we say, look, there's nothing. Sorry, and my screen is jumping all over the place because it's trying to update. Okay, look, no geomagnetic storms, no radiation storms, solar X-rays are normal, geomagnetic field is quiet. This is what all the other feeds are saying. Now, just to put this into perspective too, I'm going to play you a little clip from, hopefully this will play. If it doesn't play, I've got it set so you've got the captions at the bottom to see. Suspicious observers yesterday morning. Now I'm just waiting for his report to come out this morning, which will be in about 2 hours from now. And if I haven't got this uploaded by then, I will tag that in. I want to play this for you. He's talking about, sorry guys, I've got a frog in my throat. He's talking about January 7th. He's giving the 24-hour previous to the 8th. So we're looking at the 7th, which we've just looked at the magnetosphere graphs. We've seen it. It was all over the place, all day long, continuously. Okay? Okay? Nothing. Nothing. This is what's coming from the sun. This is what's coming from our sun. Bupkis. Nothing. Okay? Now, I've been following Ben's work at Suspicious Observers for years, basically since he started his channel. These are one of the things that we have to take into consideration. When the solar stuff is telling us nothing is going on with the sun, then what are we seeing? I'm asking the questions. What are we seeing? What is interacting with our planet's geomagnetic fields to be causing what we've just witnessed over the last 48 hours? Let alone for the last, well, we're now talking 9 days. It's January 9th. We've started looking at this seriously since January 1st. So the questions I'm getting asked is, what does this mean for us, people, humans? All of us, what are we going through? Okay? Geomagnetic storms play havoc with the planet's geomagnetic fields, but it also plays havoc with our personal magnetic fields. We have electrical and magnetic fields exactly like the planet does. And they respond to what is going on geomagnetically. So some of the symptoms are massive headaches. Some of the symptoms are rage, anger issues, emotional outbursts, We know there has been a ton of studies that prove during geomagnetic storms we see a huge amount of suicides. We see an uptick in things like car accidents and road rage go right through the roof. These are anomalies that have been studied. So we know there's a direct correlation between geomagnetic unrest and how we feel. Now, on the personal level, over this past 9 days, since I've started really talking about this, I'm getting report after report after report, and people are talking about how they're feeling, what they've been through. And I know of at least 4 people who've suicided through friends of mine in the last week. Personal friends, people I know who are going through saying they're so agitated, they're so aggravated. Very, very short fuse. I know this is myself and in my whole family. Short fuse, very little patience. You find yourself exploding and reacting to things without seemingly even feeling any sense of control in how you're responding to situations. Headaches, massive headaches. I cannot tell you how many reports of massive migraines I have had from people over the last week. Unbelievable. People who haven't had a migraine in like 10 years. My husband got hit with one last night that put him on his knees. It was that bad. Stomach unrest, feeling just unwell. The stomach is just kind of like the food just doesn't want to sit right. You don't want to eat, but you do want to eat. And when you do eat, it's just kind of doesn't feel like it's digesting properly. And sleep issues. Either people can't sleep, and I mean literally can't sleep. The whole first 4 days of January, I didn't get to bed before 3 o'clock in the morning, even one day, because I just laid in bed and read. I literally just laying in bed and reading because I could not sleep. The flip side of that is it seems to be like the polar opposite reaction, you don't mind the pun, is can't stay awake. And with some people, it's like it's a flip. It's like you can't go to sleep, you can't go to sleep, you can't go to sleep, and then you have 3 or 4 days of almost incapable of staying awake. I was talking with a friend of mine last night. We both got hit with it yesterday evening, late afternoon, evening, Central European time. The overwhelming feeling of needing to put your head down right now, like you're trying to force your eyes to remain open, like it was that huge a hit that you take physically of just like, I'm so exhausted. So these are some of the things that we're witnessing. Strange dreams is another one. Now, I'm talking simply from a geomagnetic perspective, but we don't know what's causing the hits. We've looked at cosmic radiation, massive amounts of cosmic waves coming in. If you listen to the conversation that I had with Anne Callahan in a video that I put out on, I think it was Monday, we got quite deep into several of the subjects, kind of throwing all the theories on the table. Whether you want to talk about extraplanetary bodies like Nibiru, although I personally don't fall for the whole Nibiru as a storyline, there are pieces to this that you have to keep on the table and go, maybe. Grand solar minimum, cosmic rays going through the proton cloud. All of these things have to be put on the table. In which case, with all of this stuff, we don't know how it affects us. So all we can do is collect the symptoms, if you will. We can go around, we can collect the symptoms and say, well, here's a whole broad spectrum of things that people are experiencing. Collect them up and see if we can figure it out. For now, though, it is 11 o'clock in the morning, January 9th, in Central European time. I'm freezing my ass off and going to go get into a hot bath because I'm fucking cold. I will see you guys again soon. I will say this. Tonight is the UnFuckIt discussion. We go live. We will be live streaming on Twitch TV. Since YouTube has banned my live streaming abilities, we'll be going live on Twitch TV. I will put the link to that in the description down below. That will be at 10 p.m. CET, which is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be live, and we'll be getting into this a lot deeper tonight. I can guarantee it. So feel free to join us. And I will talk to you later, guys. Have a good day.